You are now listening to FNB Radio.
And welcome to FNB Radio. My name is Lindsay Collins, and I am your host. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the show. Thank you for being here. I know there's literally millions of other podcasts you could be listening to at any time. The internet is a busy fucking place. Earlier today, I got an email from, oh my God, this Best Buy really freaked me out with their spam. They sent me an email and I just kept looking at the title in my inbox and it said, oh my God, I got to pull it up. Because the wording was so specific that I was like, Jesus Christ, people have like gotten real crazy with how they phrase those email titles these days. Because they usually will say like, sale now or something. This one just said, stay informed / you have until tonight. that was the whole title of the email. And I had to click on it because I was like, I have until tonight for what? And I opened in the email and it was just like a flash sale. Talking about stay informed, you have until tonight. Man, sometimes the good old flash sale happening now just doesn't get the clicks like it used to. But they got a click from me because I was like, is this, have I been hacked? Is this, am I negotiating with the Russian, internet terrorist over here? Or what's happening? I have until tonight to get my family back. You have until tonight to recover your Instagram handle. That keeps happening to people. It's really sad when it happens. You like look at someone's post and you're like, that seems weird for them to post. And then after that, it's just them like kind of popping in and out like, I'm here. It's me. I've been hacked. Don't click. And then, and then it's just more spam. Like, here's how I made $400,000 overnight. I've seen it happen. And I used to just shake my head and be like, you're looking at porn on the internet. But nowadays I'm like, that's not even just the answer. It could have been anything. You don't have to be watching porn on your phone to get hacked. They're very sophisticated now. So that's no longer my, my blanket sort of accusation. When I see someone on the internet, like, don't click on any invitations from me. Okay. But sometimes I don't answer emails or messages, just in an abundance of caution. Like it'll be from someone I know, but even if they phrase something weird, I'm like, sorry, Aunt Billy. I'm not going to open that. Seems kind of spammy. Seems kind of hackery. And she's like, no, I'm just trying to invite you to this get together. And I'm like, I'm not going to open it because I don't, especially if they've been hacked before, you're like, it's going to happen to you again. And then it's just a matter of time before that web, ends up getting to me somehow. That's my, I would be sad if someone stole F&B Radio's Instagram. I would be sad. That would suck. I hope that never happens. But also I'm like the amount that I have to change my password because I can't remember it. These hackers can't keep up with me. I can't even keep up with me. Every time I'm like, yeah, do it again. Just send me a new one. Anyway, how is everyone? Welcome to the show. I'm so disappointed that I did not find time to have my guest, Robert Pratt, who was actually here in person on the show. He was here for the last 2 days. He's one of my oldest friends. He has his own podcast, which I wanted to talk about with him. It's him and his friend Michelle. It's called Pan Sauce. It's very funny. It's just kind of getting started. I think they're in the 3rd episode. Check them out. It's really good. I'm like not usually a person to be like, go listen to another podcast because that's just bad podcast practice. But in this case, I love him so much. It's a very funny show. They tackle kind of more technical. He has an extraordinary background in food, and just like a crazy depth of food knowledge. He went to a real, a big boy culinary school. And so he has not only the depth of knowledge from going to a proper culinary school, one of the best ones in the whole country, but I don't know why I'm being cryptic about it. Like I'm not going to say its name. He went to the Culinary Institute of America, which is a great school. But he also is just extremely, and I told him this while he was here, but he's extremely inquisitive. And he just likes to know. So anything cuisine related, I'm always like, oh, Robert will know. But he was here visiting. He lives in New York. We worked together way back in the day. He's been on the show, I think, twice. He was on maybe the second episode of F&B Radio. So you guys, if you haven't, heard me talk about Robert Pratt, you just have to dig a little bit back into the archives and you'll find it. But amazing. He's one of my dearest friends. He came down for 2 days. He had 2 days off and we just lived it up. And I was like, we're going to get you on the show. And somehow it was just too fun to hang out and I didn't set up any microphones. And so now I'm just talking about him in his absence. But check out Pan Sauce. It's on any podcast where you can find, any platform where you can find podcasts. But he's amazing. We had the best couple days. Sometimes it takes someone coming into town to really, really remember why you live here or wherever you live. It's fun to be like showing off where you live and like trying to find a way to show people a fun, delicious. It's always about food when it comes to me showing people what Charleston is about. I'm like, oh, did you want to do something with history? Because I don't know anything about that. But if you want to do something, related to food or restaurants, I'm your girl. So we got to eat so many places. We also made dinner at home. Our very, very sweet friend, Jason Stanhope and his family came over and we just lived it up. We had an impromptu dinner party. And I just have to say, I've never experienced anything like it. Not that a dinner party, how many different ways can you do a dinner party? But it was how the dinner party came about that was so insane. It was not a planned dinner party. It was just supposed to be Robert and I like making dinner at home and hanging out with the fam. And then as he and I were like sitting there jotting down ideas, about to pack up and go to the grocery store and get stuff, he had just gotten into town like maybe 20 minutes before. And I get a call from Jason and he's like inviting me to a birthday party because we have the same birthday and it's tomorrow actually. So today's my birthday. Oh my God, today's my birthday. I'm doing the show a day in advance, but it's also Jason Stanhope's birthday. May 6th, we share that birthday. And so he was having a little party. He's like telling me about that. And then as we're talking, I'm like, you're not going to believe it, but Robert Pratt's here and we're going to make dinner. Jason casually says he's going to bring salad and he'll come hang out. And I'm like, okay, cool. It turns out to be so much more than a salad. And of course I was like, yeah, we're just making pasta. And then once I found out Jason was coming, we all kind of like individually were like, all right, no, it can't just be a pasta. So we start like just gathering shit, like no real plan. We just went to Abundant Seafood. I talked to Mark and asked Mark, like, what should I grab? What's fresh and beautiful? Of course, everything is fresh and beautiful there. So it really doesn't matter. He probably hates that question, but, he sent us home with 3 beautiful jumbo black bass. And then we went to Whole Foods and just like snagged a bunch of broccoli rabe and I don't even remember what. It was kind of a blackout situation. We're like rushing home. We all almost arrived at the same time. I was like, come about 4:00. You can come in, as early as 4:00. Him and his amazing family show up and they've got just like so much more than a salad. Like I was like, what is happening? It was white asparagus poached sous vide in cream and milk. I mean, asparagus that would just make your eyes bleed, and morel mushrooms. And Robert made this amazing olive oil cake with polenta, like this kind of cake that like you taste it and you're like, this cake could be from like the 1700s. Like this method is so old and simple, but delicious. Like breadcrumbs, eggs, olive oil, rosemary, salt, a little bit of sugar that is kind of, it cures with lemon zest. So you'd zest a bunch of lemons and then a little bit of lemon juice. And I think that's it. And it just turns into the most beautiful, rustic, stunning, like savory, but sweet cake. And the breadcrumbs are crazy because that's really all it is. It's not, there's no flour. So you're using breadcrumbs and eggs to be the binder. And it's just absolutely stunning. It was so gorgeous. But we all got there at the same time and started prepping at the same time. And then dinner was ready like weirdly in 45 minutes because we all have little kids. Well, Robert doesn't, but we do. And so there were little kids all around. And It was insanity. It felt somewhere between like a competition cooking show in terms of like we were running out of time. There was definitely a time limit, and also nobody had a clear plan. It was just kind of like, do you have this? Can I have a sheet pan? Do you have a nonstick? Jason brought 2 giant goose eggs, and they were like comically large. He made his own sausage. Like this, it just kept getting more and more ridiculous how amazing everything was. And it inspired me to just be like, dude, fuck planning a party. You don't have the worst parties that I've been to are the ones that are over planned, or like someone got too ambitious and they can't pull it off, or like the menu's really crazy, but there's, nobody thought about where to put the trash, or I don't know. Like when you plan things, there's such a risk of overcomplicating it or trying too hard, or like just overthinking it and limiting yourself kind of creatively. Our spread looked so wild because it was just whatever, as Robert so beautifully said. He's like, we're just do your best. Just everyone do their best. And we did. And it was gorgeous. Jason made a crudo with edible flowers that I cured with my tears as I cried over it. It was just so fun. It made me want to call more people and be like, be here in 2 hours and just do your best and see what happens, because it was truly the most fun. Like we were just in hysterics, like laughing at how poorly it seemed to be going, and then how delicious everything was in the end. It was refreshingly amazing. I think I'm also just, I'm such a hermit and end up being so content to be on my own or by myself with my family and like making food at home, that you get 3 people in your little tiny kitchen, and it's a real stretch of your abilities, because you're like, wow, this just got wild. Like, I don't even know what's happening. Like it was just, the energy was so high. Everyone was so sweet and the food was so beautiful. And it kicked off kind of his stay in the best way possible. We had such an amazing time. We went to Baba's, of course, like you have to. And we went to Chubby Fish, which I want to have James London back on the show, or maybe even Yo-Yo, because I'm like, maybe both of them. Because that restaurant, wow, it just never, ever disappoints. Chubby Fish, the menu is just absolutely stunning. And the pace is so perfect. The vibe is so high in there. And it's just unlike any other experience really in Charleston, if you ask me. I think it's just truly, it's exactly how I want to eat. It's so cool. I had the best time. We both just like sat there. It was beautiful and breezy outside. Like May, we kind of have crept into summertime, but it's still nice enough that you can be outside. And we hung outside and had a drink while we waited. And it was just really, really beautiful. From there, we went, because Jeremy couldn't make it. We tried to get a babysitter and it was like too last minute. So Jeremy was home with the kids. We went over to Bar George to get him half a Peruvian chicken, because that's the nice thing to do. If someone can't come to Chubby Fish, you need to go to Bar George and get them a half chicken with cilantro aioli. That's just like the least you can do. And then we got some donuts and capped off a perfect night. I mean, I couldn't get over how much fun it was to just bounce around and see all of the amazing people in this town that just really, they really put their fucking best out all the time. And I don't think people see how exhausting that is. I think it's so easy to be critical and go into a restaurant and just say like, yeah, I guess, or like not notice that these people are here, whether you're here or not, day in and day out, trying to keep up that level of energy, that level, the standard for the food that they're putting out. Like it is so, so challenging. And as things get busy, because things are really, really just kind of wide open again, it's fun. It's fun to see people like that have hung on and endured so much shittiness through the pandemic to now just be able to like sit across the bar from someone and watch them put something beautiful on a plate, or sit across your kitchen table or your kitchen counter from someone and watch them put something beautiful on a plate. Like it just inspired me so much that cooking at home or cooking with someone else, whether you're on a team in a restaurant or if you're at your house, like it's just one of the most cathartic, like beautiful things you can do. And I think a lot of times, especially in the pandemic, it became a chore or it became like something that people were like uninspired to do. I myself included. There's a big spot where I'm just like barely posting pictures of me making breakfast because that's kind of all I could muster. And now I just feel totally reinvigorated with the desire to make and share beautiful food with people. So that's what we did all the 2 days that he was here. And I'm also just blown away by the hospitality of this town because you really get to see it through someone else's eyes. It just makes it land so much more. Robert was just like, man, everybody here is so cool and nice and doing their best. And is just such a reminder that this place fucking rules. I love it here. And if I ever complain about it, I need to just go back and play this episode because it's just an absolute treat to be in Charleston. That's my love letter to all things food and beverage happening in Charleston right now. There's just so much inspiring cuisine happening. So many inspiring people who just, I feel honored to have in my life. Robert, everyone. Robert, thank you for coming. I know he listens to the show. So if you're listening, it was truly the best having you here. I'm sorry that I didn't get you on the show, but check out Pan Sauce. If you feel like you missed Robert, like I missed Robert being on the show, you can have him in your own ears along with his co-host, Michelle. They kind of tackle a different topic in food each time. And it's very fun. It's like educational, delivered with a side of humor. He's one of the funniest people I know. So definitely check it out. What else is happening? Okay, my birthday's tomorrow. Jeremy is currently out gathering all the ingredients for a Queen of Sheba cake, which was my request. It's a rum-soaked cake that's kind of enrobed in chocolate and almond. So now that we have 3 kids, I make 3 birthday cakes a year. Like that's kind of our thing. I know if you listen to the show for a while, you know that. But I always, make a kid's birthday cake, a more traditional, classic birthday cake in some form, even if it's covered in Paw Patrol or dinosaurs or Mars vehicles. So I don't know why, but on my 36th birthday, I was like, I want something like adult. Like I want kind of something unusual or something that I wouldn't normally request. Cause I feel like for the past 3 to 4 years, I'm pretty in like a yellow cake frosting, chocolate frosting with sprinkles place. Because to me, that is the best cake in the world. That's the best birthday cake that exists. A yellow cake with a really rich chocolate frosting and sprinkles, rainbow sprinkles is the perfect cake. But I've had it twice already this year. And I was just like, you know what? I want something adult. So this is Julie Child's Queen of Sheba cake, and he's going to make it today. So I'm really excited to try it. I've never had one. I've only read the recipe and seen one, but I'm pumped to make it. If you are watching the show with me, the season finale was last night. I haven't seen it yet, so I don't have any spoilers for you, but I love the show. I just heard that it's getting picked up for season 2, and I'm really, really excited. My pal, Carrie Diamond, is currently the host of the companion podcast for HBO Max's Julia. So if you want to see more about that or listen to some of the really cool interviews she's done, that is a really fun listen, and she's just the best. Carrie, if you're listening, I love you. But Julia makes that, I think, in one of the early episodes. She brings it into the production company, WGBH. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, I just have to have this cake. She has that effect. I mean, I told you, after the frisee salad, I'm just in a real Julia place. But that's the cake that he's making for my birthday. I'll probably have a little hand in it just because I want to see the method. It's kind of an unusual cake. We were reading the recipe last night together, as you do when you live in this house. You put the kids to bed and then you just casually pour over an old cake recipe. But there's no sugar in the frosting. It's not even a frosting, really. It's kind of enrobed in tempered chocolate and butter. And then it sets up, I imagine, to enrobe this rum-soaked cake. So I can't wait to report back on how inevitably delicious it is. But that's what we're doing for my birthday. And then I'll be headed to LA, and I'm going to try to see if I can drag all this shit with me and do a show in LA. But if not, I may be taking that week off. So stay tuned. Hopefully I'll be able to have a bunch of really fun meals out there and maybe get someone to talk into a microphone. It's just, I always want to do that when I travel because I'm like, the opportunity is here and you should. But lately, like much with Robert being here, I'm like, I really am trying to plan less, because that was sort of the key to the magic of this couple days, was that nothing was planned. If you just like let go and kind of be along for the ride in a way and be open to the possibilities, it just ends up being so much better. Because every time I try to plan something, it's like I have it all dialed in and then I look and they're like, oh, that restaurant's closed on Mondays, and then the whole thing is fucked. You know what I'm saying? Like there's just too much to navigate. It's like, oh, hours are weird, or this person, or, you know, if you're traveling, this kid's nap time. It all plays into not working out, or you feel like you're trying to meet some schedule rather than just being like, what do I feel like doing right now? Like what sounds good right now? And actually hanging out with the people that are in front of you instead of trying to busy yourself with an activity all the time. It's kind of like just spending time and being open to what's around you and not forcing things, I think gives you the best travel experience. You know, I don't think you should just sit in your hotel room and wait for, you know, someone to come in and take you out to dinner. I think there's somewhere in between that and like over planning. So I don't have a lot of meals planned, but I have high hopes that it will be a really, really good trip. I haven't been out to LA in so long. So an exciting couple of weeks coming up. And just in general, as things kind of get warmer and summer's starting to blossom, we're like, the energy's high. I hope you're feeling that out there. Like making summer just a really, really fun time. I feel like after the year we all had last year of just kind of being in limbo, it's like people want to get out and stretch their legs. People are feeling crazy. People are throwing dinner parties a la minute. And I hope you do too. Yeah, other than that, last week was the 200th episode of F&B Radio, and I feel it now, looking back on it, I'm like, I didn't really make enough of a fuss about that, but it's kind of just a number. Like 199 is also impressive. 204 is also impressive, but 200 is a big milestone because the show has been around for so many years, but I haven't always been this consistent with it, and it's just brought me endless joy having this podcast for the last, since 2016. How many years is that? That's a long time. 2016. Jeez. But I did want to thank all of you. Those of you who've been here from the beginning, those of you who are just joining now, everybody who's ever shared the show, everybody who listens to the show or says hi when you see me. When we were in Bar George, I don't know who it was, but if you're listening, you said you ran up and were like, hey, oh, it's El George and F&B Radio. And just even acknowledging that the show exists. And when you see me out, it really makes my day. And I don't take it for granted for a single second that you guys take the time to listen to this show or appreciate this show or think that this show is good. So thank you for getting it to 200 episodes. And now 201. And thanks for the opportunity to like be in your life because there is so much noise out there and there's so many things. Like sometimes I get in my little tunnel and I think, you know, I'm only paying attention to the stuff that I pay attention to in food, but I'm like, there is just so much happening in the world around food. And honestly, it's an honor to have you here because I know you could be any number of other places. What else? I guess I'll be in full party mode this weekend, but, I was going to go to my mom's house, but she has a full stacked weekend. So we're going to do a redo of Mother's Day. So I'm not making these things this weekend, but here are 3 things that I think you should make. And I'll probably make the following weekend or no, the next weekend We're going to kind of do a Mother's Day, Memorial Day hybrid because I'm not going to see my mom this weekend and I won't be able to see her next weekend because I'll be out of town. But here's 3 things that I think make a really, really, really good Mother's Day brunch if you're thinking about making something for your mom. Number 1 is steak and eggs. Steak and eggs is the shit. Steak and eggs is one of the most luxurious breakfasts that you can eat. And steaks, honestly, are not that hard to cook. Like if you pull the meat out in time, you season the meat properly with salt, you sear it in a hot cast iron, and then put it in the oven for just a bit with some herbs and a piece of garlic and maybe a little foamy butter and kind of baste the outside and then let it rest. Even if you overcook the shit, which will happen, undercooking is not as cool to me, but overcooking the steak better than undercooking the steak. Especially if it's something fatty like a bone-in ribeye, which is probably what I would get if I was going to cook it for my mom. No matter what, if you render the fat properly and kind of slowly and don't just, blast it in an oven on broil, you'll slice it and serve it with a sunny side up egg, a really beautiful piece of toast, maybe a salad, something really, really simple. That's it. If you want to go crazy, you could put, a hollandaise. But honestly, every time people say hollandaise, I'm like, my heart starts to beat really hard. So I think just something simple like steak and eggs and a beautiful green salad would feel special, Maybe you throw a Bloody Mary in there. Maybe you throw a beautiful fresh orange juice and call it a day. That feels special enough on its own. I'm always about some kind of large format cake, a breakfast cake, if you will, whether it's a coffee cake. There's a lemon iced cake that I make that's really simple. It's just a lemon pound cake that's in my Patreon. If you want to become a member, all of those recipes are in there. There's a ton of stuff. But that would be both the coffee cake and the lemon cake are in there. And that even is enough on its own. You can make some 7-minute eggs, put a little bit of pickles, accoutrement out, toast, and then have this gorgeous cake to kind of serve at the end with coffee. And I think that's really elegant, like kind of fun Mother's Day brunch that doesn't require everyone. I think 2 years ago we made Mother's Day brunch for my mom, and it was awesome because we got restaurant style, like Julian was the server. Everyone got poached eggs. We made proper eggs Benedict with, Canadian bacon and English muffins and hollandaise. And it was so fun, but it was very much like working a brunch shift. It wasn't like hanging out with your mom. And I've been inspired recently to just hang out with your guests. So if you want to stay out of the kitchen, make something beautiful ahead of time, like the snacking breakfast cake, and throw that down. Or you could do my old fail-safe, which is like the thing that I want to eat for breakfast all the time, which is essentially a continental breakfast. Thinly sliced cheese. And I honestly use cheddar, like an aged cheddar. I'm sorry, but show me a better breakfast cheese. Show me one. I mean, even like a shitty aged cheddar, like a Cracker Barrel cheddar, is so fucking good. If you slice it really thin with a potato peeler and set it out with some 7-minute eggs, just poached and peeled and finished with a little bit of chive and salt and really good olive oil and cracked pepper, maybe a little paprika if you're feeling crazy and you really want to impress mom. Some ham or either some prosciutto would be beautiful. I love prosciutto. I always have a pack of prosciutto in my refrigerator for such an occasion, but I just think that's a really fun way to like have it set out and look really special and make it almost feel like you're at a hotel. And then just let people enjoy. Get some croissants, order them now, or get them, I don't know, if you're going to get them. To be honest, the take and bake croissants, people are probably like rolling over in their pastry graves, but I don't think they're that bad. If you're going to make croissants yourself, I mean, you're my hero. Invite me to your brunch and I'll be your mother. But if you don't want to do all that, like truly the frozen ones from Whole Foods are not that bad. And you can take and bake. They feel kind of impressive. They're warm. They're delicious. And Yeah, set that out with your fancy hotel breakfast, your sliced cheese, your shaved prosciutto, your 7-minute eggs, and then have a little beverage. Maybe you put some grapefruit and sparkling wine or sparkling water and make yourself a little spritz, something pinky and sweet for your mom. Most of all, just apologize to your mom if you were a dick to her in the past, because honestly, I think we all could do that. Oh my God, I have 3 kids, and this weekend, Luca's tooth got broken out, and it was a rock throwing situation. It was a whole thing. And just being a mom is really stressful, is all I'm saying. I know that not everybody listening is a mom. Not everybody has a mom that they love, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm just saying, if you are a mom, man, it's tough. So if you're a kid, which if you're on this earth, you had a mom somewhere, do something nice. Say you're sorry to your mom, or just tell her you love her. Because even if she was just an okay mom, she still did you a huge solid by bringing you into this world. And on that note, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you for rating and reviewing the show if you've done it already. If you haven't done it, you can go into iTunes or Apple Podcasts. Wow, iTunes. I don't even know what it's called anymore. iTunes, that's like me being like, get out your iPod. Get out your iPod Shuffle. Download this podcast. No. Go into Apple Podcasts and rate and review the show. It helps people find the show. It's a very free way to help me out and get the show out to more people. So definitely leave a review if you can. And share the show with anybody that you think would want to hear it. I think everyone would want to hear it. Don't you think everyone wants to hear 3 things that they could make? Doesn't everybody want to know that? Thank you so much for listening. Thank you to Robert Pratt for coming into town and just being the most amazing guest. Robert, if you are listening at the very tail end here, your bed finally came in. I had ordered a bed frame for the guest room. It didn't come in. So Robert was sort of sleeping on the floor on a mattress, and it was not the desired look I was going for. And of course, the day that he left, the bed frame arrived the next day. So it's all set up, and I've been hanging out in there. But thank you, Robert, for coming into town. We love you. Thank you for listening to this show. I love you. And I'll see you next week. Bye, bye, bye.